So, at the end of this, you're gonna rate me 5 stars, right? Time for another Black Mirror, the start of Season 3, Nosedive. This, my experience with this one was hard to watch, although for different reasons as it went along. Now, when it started and I got a handle on the setup and what was going on, it made me very uncomfortable for reasons that should not be that hard to figure out. I mean, I have a YouTube channel. Obviously, I care about my social media footprint, my social media impression, and to see it almost kind of weaponized like that, and to see it so all-encompassing, and it, the level of it, watching that, just kind of sank in over time. Because initially I'm watching it, okay, and I'm seeing her go to this coffee shop, and there's all these people around, and everyone's glued to their phone. I'm like, ugh. That's already giving, and the thing there is the camera didn't even linger on it, but every single person except the clerk who's actively doing work just staring at their phone. So right off the bat with that, I was a little like, ugh. Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to unplug sometimes, and I really have to be deliberate about it every now and then. So that already kind of made me go, ugh. And then seeing so much value put on basically an aggregation of your social media footprint, that's terrifying, because I know at various points in my life I've felt, what she felt. If I could just get a few more likes, a few higher ratings, a few more subscribers in my case, and I think there were, what really made this work is because it's the kind of cautionary tale about this sort of thing that could really overstep and really fall into parody and be like friggin' reefer madness and just be completely over the top and read like a sci-fi version of an after-school special. But it doesn't, because it gets the details right. And again, it's details that it doesn't even necessarily linger on. So like when she's getting all these 5 stars from people, and she gets that 4 star. Now, I'm talking earlier on. Later on, she's aiming for that specific number, and she's got a specific goal. But early on, she's maintaining it at a good level. She's fine. And she's gotten we've watched her get 10, 15, however many 5 stars so far that morning, and 1 4 star. She just kind of lingers on that. And that rang really true, because I think anyone who puts themselves out there online in any sort of artistic sense, you can have 100 people tell you that they like your stuff and that they think what you're doing is good and they enjoy it, and you get that one person who says, nah, this is crap. And there's something in your brain that gives more weight to that one negative piece of feedback than, innumerably more pieces of positive feedback. And again, they captured that really well in that moment. So getting the little details like that and having them ring emotionally true, that went a long way to making this work, where it could have gone off the cliff really early on. And sort of seeing the literalization of basically social media just becoming your social life, even to the point of the advertisements targeted at you, because you log into Facebook and a million other things, and they're running ads based off your browser history, based off what you've been looking at on Amazon or wherever else. And here it just goes up the next step. You look at this billboard and you literally see yourself projected into this image, enjoying the thing that they want you to buy. And it's not it's not that far-fetched. I mean, the technology of actually having something in your eye all the time, we're probably a long ways off from that, but certainly the mentality behind it, not far-fetched at all. And that all worked really well and made it very uncomfortable viewing very early on, and uncomfortable in the way that I like Black Mirror to make me feel uncomfortable, because there are times that this show does actually feel like it's holding up a mirror, and it can make you confront things about society, about yourself, that maybe you don't want to, and the front end of this episode definitely did that for me. I don't think the back end is as strong, and I think it ran into the problem a lot of these sorts of stories tell, which is that so much of the power is in the setup and the way the society works, that when you actually try and bolt a narrative onto that, it oddly is not as affecting. Like, I remember reading A Brave New World when I was in high school, and I was enraptured in a terrifying way by the world, by the society, by this dystopia that I was reading about. But after about the first third of it or so, when the plot properly kicked in, I started to zone out, and I had a really hard time getting through the rest of the book, because the world told me so much more that I found deep and engaging than the characters or the actual narrative did. And this isn't quite to that level, but I do think it's just the function of this society and how this technology has caused people to live day to day the way that we as people now tend to exist in our Facebook profiles, in our Instagram feeds, always appearing to be happy, always being friendly, like people so that they like you back, and having that project out into day-to-day life. That in and of itself is incredibly engaging and compelling, and I just don't think that the story is as strong as the actual environment and setup is. And I mean, I don't want to say that, like, here's what the story should have been, because I'm actually not sure what it should have been instead. I will say, though, that as the story went on, it made for uncomfortable viewing in a different way. And this is something that's probably more specific to me and sort of my hangups and things that I like or dislike. I have a very strong distaste for humiliation in film and television. I don't enjoy watching anybody be humiliated. I don't, down to my core. I don't enjoy it. And I actually had to check myself as I prepared to talk about that aspect, because I wanted to say I don't enjoy humiliation humor, because 99 times out of 100 I run into this watching lousy comedies. It's what makes so many comedies specifically aimed at women often insufferable to me, because a lot of them tread heavily on humiliation humor, on their lead characters doing things that are ridiculous, and you can tell, like, from 5 minutes before it friggin' happens how bad this is going to be, and then you have to just watch this train wreck happen, and I don't enjoy that at all. I will give this episode credit in that it wasn't trying to actually have me enjoy it. I don't think it was expecting me to actually laugh and take enjoyment from her spiral. But it did still ring a lot of the same bells of, the contrivances of what goes wrong, coupled with knowing being able to tell well in advance what she was going to do that was going to make all of this go to hell. And so it's still treading in the same things. Again, not as bad as when I usually run into it, because it's not expecting to get a laugh out of me for that. So that in and of itself is a big improvement. But there's just something in me that, like, at a deep gut level, I I hate watching humiliation. And I'm not going to say it has never worked for me, but I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head, and it's a real fine line to walk with me. So that's sort of the other way in which the plot, once it got going, it didn't lose me, but it went from unsettling me in a way because I saw myself and aspects of my life and things that I have done or make a point of trying to not do, but know that I'm susceptible to, all being reflected up on the screen, to being uncomfortable because it's just treading in a story trope that I don't particularly enjoy. So one is a discomfort that is deeply affecting and lasting and sticks with you, and the other is the kind of discomfort that you're just kind of waiting for the moment to end so you can like move on from it. So that's sort of how the episode unraveled slightly for me as it went along. I do want to emphasize, I don't consider that to be a fault with the episode. I don't believe that makes this a bad episode, but you know, these reviews are my feelings about all of this. So that's where I end up because of me and my history and my feelings and my baggage, which nobody is under any obligation to share. Trust me, you don't want it. So overall, it is quite good, and I rather liked the note that it ended on, which was an odd one in a lot of ways, and one I wasn't expecting, because everything had just been spiraling down. And so for it to end with her in this cell across from this guy and this bizarre, oddly endearing, bonding, roasting, connecting with someone through insults and venting, that was just kind of nice. It was a nice moment to end on, and it was a twisted little glimmer of hope for her as a person, if not for her standing in this society. But and even as I say what it was that was going on, it really was the antithesis of the life that she led. Because not only is she, speaking her mind and saying, whatever she wants to say, but in this specific case, it's not driving her away from somebody. It's bringing her closer to him. And that is a nice reassurance to have, because prior to that, the most reassurance we got was from the truck driver, who was all like, yeah, I don't care anymore, and heck with it. And that's not all that reassuring, because you have to be able to completely decouple yourself from the benefits that you get by playing the game, and most of us can't do that unless circumstances have forced us to already lose that, which is what happened to her, because she lost her husband, and at that point she didn't have a ton of things left to lose. So that wasn't really all that much of a glimmer of hope. This ending, though, where it's not just a matter of do whatever you want, don't care what people think, but with the truck driver, she was a 1.4 or whatever. She clearly doesn't have a lot of relationships, a lot of friendships. So, she gets to say what she wants, but she's paid the price for that. But this ending has Lacey saying what she wants and not paying a price for that, but building a connection through that. And that was oddly uplifting of a note for that to end on. And so I think in many ways the episode started out really strong because it was unsettling to me in the way that the best of Black Mirror usually is. And that the note it ended on, I really like as well, because of the very unconventional way in which it was kind of reaffirming of being able to unplug and maybe that'll be okay. It was just sort of the middle bit, sort of the latter 2/3 up until that very ending scene, it just, like I said, I think a lot of it comes down to the setup is more engaging to me than the actual story was. Because the story was fairly, just the name alone, you could guess as soon as the premise was established how much people put their worth of themselves and others into the star rating system. It's called Nosedive. Her numbers are going to tank. That's what's going to happen, and then it's just a matter of watching it play out. So the story didn't really grab me, and once I understood how this worked, which I understood, within the first 20 minutes, I had a pretty complete picture. Watching the specifics of how it was going to go bad for her, most of that didn't add new layers to it. There were a few here and there, finding out that you actually lose access to things, or you get special access, not just by people treating you nice, but like businesses give you special access based off your ratings. That was an interesting wrinkle. And the punishment thing, that was interesting with things like that. But those were like little snippets, little additional pieces of information on the society. But like I said, the actual story just kind of goes exactly how things gonna go right up until the ending, which I did really like. So I think that's about it. I think if I keep going, I'll just keep reiterating the same things over and over and over again, which I might already have been doing. Crap. In any case, Nosedive. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. There's all the stuff to do, like support me on Patreon and follow me on Twitter. And oh my God, having watched this episode, it's weird to plug all that stuff at the back end. Give me 5 stars. So until next time, links for all that stuff's in the description. This council's adjourned.